The latest news is USCIS has stopped printing green cards and work authorization cards. Is it even true? If it is, how is it going to affect you and what can you do about it? Watch this video and you'll get answers to all those questions. Hi, I'm Andrea Shev, and I'm the managing attorney at Shev Law Group in Los Angeles, California. I've been doing immigration law for almost 20 years, and I put together these videos to give you reliable, easy to understand, concise information on all types of immigration issues. So if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you subscribe right now. Hit that subscribe button right below this video, and don't forget to also hit that notification bell so you're notified every time a video comes out, which I'm releasing them at the very least weekly. Okay, let's just get into it. Is it really true that USCIS has stopped printing green cards and EAD work authorization cards? Well, unfortunately, the answer is yes. Now, they haven't stopped them completely, but they've really slowed down and they've almost halted a substantial number of them. In the last weeks, over 50,000 green cards and 75,000 EAD work authorization cards have not been printed and distributed out to individuals that are already approved and just waiting for those cards. Now, if some of you don't know, what is a green card and what is an EAD work authorization card? Well, a green card is a permanent resident card that you get when you apply for permanent residency in the United States. It's a little card and it's required to be carried with you at all times inside the United States and when you're traveling. It also has to be presented at your work to prove your status in the United States. An EAD work authorization card is a temporary work authorization card that allows you to work in the United States. It is absolutely critical to have in your possession when you're working at an employer and you need to show them proof that you're able to legally work at their employ. There are two main locations where green card and work authorization cards are actually printed and sent out. One is in Corbin and one is in Lee's Summit. Now, both of those have stopped or significantly slowed down production of these cards. So prior to this, just to give you an idea how fast these were going out before, prior to this happening, we were getting green cards sent out almost within 48 hours of getting the approval. Not necessarily for the work authorization cards, but definitely for green cards. We would go to an interview, get approved, and within 48 hours, it was already issued for production by one of these locations. So why is all this happening? Well, USCIS is claiming because of lack of funds. They don't have the money to pay these companies to actually produce these cards for them. So they have now stopped producing them because they're not being paid. But why is there no money? I mean, we pay significant fees to USCIS when we apply for these applications. So where is that money going if not going to the production of the cards that we're paying for that we've already been approved for? That is a big question that Congress and everyone around USCIS is dealing with, trying to figure out where is the money going. Is there a mismanagement issue, or is it just that they don't have enough funds coming in through processing fees in order to cover all the costs that they have? Well, they've asked Congress for $1.2 billion in order to cover them so they're not going to have to furlough 70% of their employees starting August 3rd. Well, now we know it's not just about furloughing their employees, but it's also about actually printing cards and actually processing certain applications that are sitting in the queue waiting to happen. The unfortunate part about this whole issue with the cards is that these are for people that are already approved. These are people that have already gone through the interviews, done the biometrics and everything they're supposed to do, had their case completely approved, and now they're just waiting for the card in the mail. Now, how does this affect everybody? Well, the issue is it affects us directly, or affects you directly, because if you're looking for a job or you have a job and your work authorization is either expired or you're waiting for your initial work authorization that you need to give them in order to prove that you're work authorized, you don't have it. So your employer or your prospective employer is not going to hire you or continue your employment without seeing that card. Now, that's a huge issue for people, especially right now during COVID-19 when we're already having issues with employment. These people need their cards. Green card holders or permanent residents need the green card. They can't travel without the green card, and they definitely need it for employment purposes also. They also need it just to prove their actual status in the United States if they're asked. It's critically important that someone who is a green card holder or permanent resident have that card on them at all times to prove their legal status in the United States. So there are options, very few, but there are a few options that if you are a permanent resident in the United States and you're just waiting for your actual card in the mail that you've already been approved for and you just haven't gotten the actual card, especially if you're just renewing it, there are options. I did a video very recently, which I'll put the link above to watch, that talks about in detail your options and how you can actually get a 551 stamp put in your passport that will allow you to have proof of your residency in the United States, which will allow you to travel and also show for work authorization purposes. But it's not for everybody. Only people that have emergent situations that can prove that they absolutely need this 551 stamp will be able to make an appointment and get it. So it still puts a lot of people in a situation of being in a bind that can't get the actual work authorization and also the green card or evidence of the green card because of the situation. So what are we going to do about this? Well, we're going to keep our fingers crossed that Congress gives the USCIS the funding that they're asking for. If not the whole $1.2 billion, at least some portion of it to keep things moving along, and for sure not to furlough 70% of their officers that they have in their offices. Now, if they don't get the money, then we're going to have much bigger problems on our hands other than just cards not being produced. We're going to have major delays in processing applications and so on and so forth. It's just extremely unfortunate the situation we're in because of the executive orders that have basically halted or slowed down significantly any issues of green cards outside the United States. And now with this bureaucracy and the red tape that we're going through inside the United States with regard to funding for USCIS and lack of funds and so on and so forth, we're really put in a position where all of our processing has significantly slowed down. Now, one thing I want to stress to all of you out there that you are watching this, they are still processing applications. They have not stopped processing applications, and you have a right to file applications for a number of different visas or green cards. So this is not a reason to not move forward with your plans and file the things that you were going to file. It's just, I'm just informing you of all this stuff that's going on behind the scenes, and also to make you aware of why maybe you're sitting there with an approved application and no green card in hand. So we will keep our fingers crossed in the next weeks we'll have the funding get through and we can more or less get back to normal within the United States. But we still are hopeful that before the end of the year, things will change with what's happening outside of the United States. Please, all of you, stay safe, stay positive, because we're going to all get through this, I promise you. Good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Don't forget to subscribe and look forward to seeing you next time.